If you're new here, welcome to the Coffee and Crypto team. When everything feels bearish, usually rallies come after. When everything feels bullish, usually crashes follow shortly after.
Amen.
The levels I'm watching are, first of all, that 17,600.
If you're listening to the sound of my voice, that can mean only one thing, and that's that you are in the market pulse, baby. Let's do it. The merge has shipped.
Come on, baby.
Yeah.
Come on, now.
That is the date that the Federal Reserve will be making their Fed rate decision.
Well, gee, Tim, I would love to do that. I think we're still going to see projects like Bored Ape Yacht Clubs or things like that still exist. The answer is 1,000 Dogecoin.
Oh.
Yo, 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 what is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Crypto Live, where we go live every single weekday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so make sure you don't miss a single one. We're about to have a fantastic show here. We're going to be discussing a potential breakout coming in the crypto space, because over the last 2 weeks, we've had over $1 billion come into the space, as well as a lot of money leaving exchanges going away. What this means is that more than likely smart money is beginning to make some bullish moves for crypto, but we will explore the charts to see what that looks like. And Kellam, everybody's favorite on-chain analyst, is on the show today, so make sure you don't go anywhere. You guys love Kelly, we love Kelly. It is going to be a fantastic show. We also have a very good market polls going on this morning. I don't know how heavy the news is hitting, but you don't want to miss that either with T-Shroom. And anyone who loves DOT, I'm going to make sure that we do some DOT TA for you guys today. So even though that wasn't in the title, if you want some DOT TA, make sure you stick around for the entire show. At the end, in our community portion, we will be playing the game Name That Coin again, and I think we got some smoother transitions with it this time, so that will be very interesting. I am joined by two fantastic co-hosts here. I'm loving the green sweatshirt this morning, T-Shroom, but you missed the memo that today was the day to wear black hoodies. I almost always do, but Smay's doing it as well. What do you have to say about that?
I am sorry for missing that memo.
Yeah.
I was busy doing other things. But good morning, everyone. It's great to see you.
That's what they all say.
Great to be seen by you, I should say. Very caffeinated morning. I'm back on caffeine for anybody who is tracking that. So it's good.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
It's good. It's good. I got Smay over here to my left. Wearing his black hoodie.
Hello, namaste, everybody.
Smay, how was last night for you? Did you do anything fun?
Oh, I did. Thank you, Tim. I actually did my first episode of my nightly show. I don't have a name for it yet. The Smay Show, guys, where I review movies. It's basically the new evolution of what Reels on Reels has become over time. And I'm so excited. And I'm doing it every night, every weeknight, as long as I can support it. So tune in tonight, because I'm doing it again at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
You know, the question about today, how is today going to go with me and Smay? It's touch and go there for a while.
Well,
some
yeah.
days we're allies, and other days it seems like he just wants to come for my throat, but then put it like I'm coming for his throat. And I came in today, Smay, very, very ready to do nothing but be kind to you all day, and you came at me this morning in the planning meeting. And you know what? I'm going to choose to turn the other cheek and love you anyway. But we'll see how the show goes.
Tim, I want to reach out my hand and a gesture to you. I want to treat you good. I want to treat you good.
This isn't working.
We are. We're about to touch.
Ah!
We were about to touch.
Ooh,
there we go.
Got it.
Tim, I want to say that I'm going to treat you with the utmost honor and respect today. I want you to know that I care about you, and I also just kind of want you to tune into my show tonight. So
It's true.
because you didn't last night. So
I will turn it tonight.
I'm treating you with lots of love and respect. And guys, if you think there's a feud between me and Tim, think again, because there's not.
Okay. Well, it is time for everybody's favorite segment, the reading of the green names. And today,
boy.
Smay, we're going to throw a little twist in it. I want you to guess where these people live. States. We're not going to go cities. Just give me states where you think these people live.
All right, I'm gonna do that, guys. All right, so here we go. Let's begin. Freedom Advocate lives in the sunny, sunshine state of Florida. I think I know that, but I'm not sure.
That's actually true.
We have Mitch Shaw. Mitch Shaw lives in Michigan. Josh Denham lives in North Carolina. Tyler Main also lives in Florida. Let's say here, It's 420 Wood lives in Colorado. Let's see here. Win Peoples lives in Nebraska. Kasha Katz lives in Michigan. Brad Geidel lives in Wisconsin. Let's see here. The Coin Father lives in South Florida. Crypto Mini Bike lives in, I'm going to say he lives in either Tennessee or Colorado. We have here Green Names lives in California. Let's see here. Crypto JMP also lives in Southern California. I'm going to say that here, let's see who else we got here. A Mellow Fellow lives in Wyoming. And let's see, Silent lives in, I'm going to say he lives in upstate New York.
Whoa.
And then we got Mike Lowry. I'm going to say Mike Lowry is, where's Mike Lowry? I'm going to say Mike Lowry is also in Florida, the Sunshine State. And, well, shout out to you guys. I think I got through all of them. Justin Eubanks. I'm going to say Justin Eubanks lives in North Carolina as well. Thank you guys for telling me where you live.
Boom. Yeah, say let us know who was right. You had a couple of those right, it looks like, in chat. A couple of those wrong. I was impressed. Some of them you were somewhat close, and even though you're off, but we will we'll keep those things fun.
What is even that you're saying right now?
I don't know.
Are
what
you
I'm
trying
saying.
to compliment that I got a lot of them wrong? Like, what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say you did a great job, Smay, and I think that I think you actually got more right than I would have expected you to get right.
Thank you.
Is the best way of putting that.
Thank you.
Oh, it's going to be a fun day. We're about to jump into our market poll, so make sure if you don't already for your Coffee and Crypto show, get your coffee. I'm bringing back the retro cup today I still have the mug over here, although it is empty. Nothing in it. I got the retro travel mug. This is not the current branding. It's the old branding, but it's still cool. I don't think you can purchase this anymore on the merch site, but
unless I steal that one and sell it on eBay.
Don't steal this and sell it on eBay.
I think there might. I think there might be a workaround to buy it. Because I don't
There's
think
a
we
workaround?
ever. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if we ever closed our old Teespring merch store, which that's where that's from.
Oh.
So I wonder if you could.
The old
Interesting.
workaround.
I wonder if you could go on Teespring and find us and buy it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I
good
put it
stuff.
out there. It's probably they're probably on top of it. I'm just being a goober, but.
Well, let's jump back into this. We're about to jump into our market pulse. If you're excited about that, go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. But first, I want to bring you a word from our sponsor today, and that is BitGet. And a real quick question to you, Smay. How do you feel about fees when you're trading?
Oh, boy, Tim. I can't stand them.
I think that's a lot of people, Smay. And the good thing about BitGet, it has one of the lowest fees out there when you're trading. So anyone out there is looking to trade right now in the space, but you're tired of paying these ridiculous fees. Trust me, I know this. There have been times where I actually talked myself out of entering a trade because I was like, I just don't want to pay that higher percentage. You are talking the best prices out there, and that is BitGet. So if you do not already have it, make sure to go sign up with the link down below right now and start trading with BitGet. Thank you, and shout out to them for sponsoring our market polls today. And with that said, T-Shroom, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, that can mean only one thing, and that's that you are in the market pulse, baby. Let's go ahead and get it. We're going to start it off on the Fear and Greed Index, and I am prouder than ever to share that we are out of extreme fear and we are back into fear. That threshold 25 to 26 has been crossed, and we are now back into fear. So this would be an indicator solely if you're only looking at this, and Kellam is going to show us a little later how there's way more things to consider, way more indicators. But if you're only looking at the Fear and Greed Index, you might conclude that we are near the bottom or the bottom is in. So some optimism there for your Thursday morning. One thing I do want to point out is that the non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate is going to print tomorrow, October 7th, 8:30. We will absolutely be covering this because it's extremely important. This could potentially tip the scales for old Jay Powell and his fund rate. Speaking of which, the fund rate predictor tool, CME predictor tool, is predicting 71.9% likelihood of a 75 basis point hike on November 2nd. That decision will come in early November, and there is no decision in October, just so you know. I want to show a graph that I don't usually show. This is the total assets of the Federal Reserve. They're on their balance sheet. You can see this is their total assets, and it has in recent months in 2022 taken a curve downward. So that means that the Fed is buying less treasuries and less mortgage-backed securities to stimulate the economy. So it is going in the reverse direction. That is one of the ways that they are eroding demand to bring inflation down to their target rate. of 2%. Okay, moving into the stories today, we're starting off with old Gary Gensler, as the SEC staff reportedly is unhappy with Gensler over the Kim Kardashian publicity stunt. Look at him there. He's just a publicity guy. And the regulator's staff complained that Gensler violated protocol by using media attention to prop up his reputation for the Treasury Secretary position. Interesting. A lot of implications there. Gensler's, then this is a quote from one of his staff, Gensler stealthily approached CNBC for his appearance and created a video on the settlement. Unusual move for chairs, which usually allow staff to take credit for actions and pursue broader issues. So already some juicy info coming from the SEC staff there. There he is, Gary Gensler. This was the video that he put out charging Kim Kardashian for unlawfully touting a cryptocurrency, trying to make an example of her.
Hold on. That scene, okay. That is classic publicity guy moves right there.
Classic.
That is classic publicity guy.
He's a regular Andrew Tate, this Gary Gensler guy. But moving right along, you also get an interesting flurry of tweets, and for the sake of time, we're not going to go into it. We'll go into this doctor one. He said the SEC will go after Kim Kardashian for shilling a crypto, but not Nancy Pelosi for insider trading her way to hundreds of millions of dollars. It's a pretty good quote from Dr. Parikh Patel, BA, CFA, and ACCA Esquire. So, man of many names there. Moving along, 3 Arrows Capital, CryptoPunks, and other Starry Night Ethereum NFTs set to be liquidated. Very, very interesting. So if you want to get your hands on some potentially discounted premium NFTs, now might be your chance. According to the liquidator, all of Starry Night's Capital NFTs have been accounted for and are in possession or are being transferred to us. Tino credited Vincent Van Doe for facilitating the transfer of the NFTs and making sure that they weren't sold outside the liquidation process. Tino also said that the pseudonymous collector will help the firm sell the NFT collection to cover 3 Arrows Capital's losses. So 3 Arrows Capital trying to raise money there by selling off their art, their digital art inventories, and hopefully that works out for them. But if you wanted to get your hands on some of these NFTs, now would be a pretty good time. They've got some interesting ones there. See if I can find some rare Pepe assets, I guess, some art blocks, and some CryptoPunks. So again, go ahead and get your hands on them while you can. Namibia's central bank says Bitcoin can be accepted as payment, and this is a pretty big story in terms of momentum, not a big story in terms of the country of interest here. This is a good read, so hold on with me. Although cryptocurrencies do not have a status of legal cash in Namibia, the country's central bank, the Bank of Namibia, BON, has announced that it has now included virtual assets and virtual asset service providers under its FinTech Innovations regulatory framework in a phase approach. This is through its innovation hub. Quote from their bond representative said it did not recognize support and recommended the possession, utilization, and trading of cryptocurrencies by members of the public. The bank also warned Namibians there would be no legal recourse in the event they lost money. So this was their old tone. This was a tone they were taking before this decision, very bearish on cryptocurrencies, and this is their new tone. In the announcement, Governor Johannes Gawaxab, that's quite a name, Gawaxab, that's cool, of the bond, who has been known to be skeptical of cryptocurrencies in the past, is reported as conceding that the future of money has reached a crucial juncture. He went on to explain the future of money is at an inflection point. The battle between regulated and unregulated money on the one hand and sovereign versus non-sovereign money on the other hand. So Namibia going towards legal, making Bitcoin and other cryptos legal tender, have not officially crossed that line, but they are making themselves potentially front runners. Now you might be asking, where the heck is Namibia? Why should I care about this? Well, so far the countries that have made crypto legal tender is El Salvador and Central African Republic, which is down here. You'll see it's the 46th country in Africa by GDP and out of 54. So it's pretty low. And for African standards, just speaking frankly, that, they are on the very, very low end of countries in the world in terms of GDP. But then you also have Namibia here at 32. So kind of coming in the middle of this ranking sheet that's from Wikipedia. Now, where is Namibia? Namibia is right here. It's not labeled, but I happen to know. South Africa is right here, and it borders South Africa, and it is very, very up and coming here as they're trying to adopt crypto moving into the future. Just going to read this headline. Sushi jumps 14% after asset manager Golden Tree reveals 5.3 million stake in Sushi Swap. So a big investor has invested in Sushi Swap, and nobody knew about it until now, and that made the price jump pretty precipitously. But if we did TA on it, you'd see that it did not break out of a descending triangle, downtrending line of resistance. So, how much that breakout is going to count in the long term, we shall see. And then our last story here, Celsius's top 3 execs cashed out $42 million in crypto before bankruptcy. We'd already covered that Mashinsky had done something like this, but now it looks like others were too. The CTO, Nuke Goldstein, was also doing this, and the ex-CSO, Daniel Leon, had done this. So crypto lender Celsius top 3 executives withdrew 42.13 million in crypto between May and June of 2022, right before the company suspended withdrawals and filed for bankruptcy. A new court record shows. So not looking good over there at Celsius in terms of ethical practicing for a bankruptcy. But you know what? We're just trying to, again, we're in the Wild West phase of crypto. We're trying to weed out all the bad actors, and regulation is just around the corner. As we reported yesterday, the EU passed regulation, and it is pretty comprehensive. And I should say they didn't pass it yet. It looks like it's going to pass pretty unanimously. They sealed it, meaning there cannot be any further revisions to that legislation, MICA. So, and all of that is to prevent folks like Alex Mashinsky from doing what he did here, which is exiting illegally from a company and potentially taking millions of dollars of his customers' money with him illegally again. And now he's going to be brought to justice. This new court filing shows. I have been T-Shroom in your market pulse. You can follow me on Twitter and the gram at T-Shroom. Post a lot of cool stuff on there. Thank you so much.
Boom. Thank you so much, T-Shroom. I'm gonna say this right now. I think, and I want to hear what the audience thinks as well. I want to hear what you think, Smay. I actually think that might have been the best market pulse.
Wow.
That you've presented.
What?
Not in terms of stories, because you can't control that. You got to control what you can control.
Well, that's what you think.
Your transitions, the way you explained the things, the way you broke them through and smoothly just went through, I think that was probably the greatest performance of the market pulse that I've ever seen.
Thank you.
And I am very, if you guys agree with that, smash that like button. We're about to jump in and do some technical analysis, but last thing I have for you, T-Shroom, we did not talk about in the meeting this morning what the question of the day was going to be.
Oh, I'm going to write it right now.
So while I'm doing technical analysis, you're going to get our question of the day ready for when Kelly jumps on here in about 13 minutes.
You gotta go figure that out.
I've got a pretty good one.
I mean, hopefully it's better than yesterday. As you know, oof.
I feel like you're the only one who didn't like yesterday's, because I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, well, I'm the host, so I get 2 votes. We're going to jump over here and look at Bitcoin really quickly, starting on the 4-hourly chart. So you guys see the title of the video. There's a breakout coming very soon. Now, this was not necessarily meaning it had to happen during the show. So anyone out there watching this red candle on the 4-hourly chart, this does not cancel on anything we're talking about. It is interesting that we want to continue to watch this. The reason we're moving a little bearish this morning, one of the reasons, if you go out to the Dixie is starting to rally here again, but it is, settling right now at the 0.382 level. If we climb above that, if we go higher than 111, start heading back towards 112, then we could be seeing Bitcoin head back down towards this little range right here, this ascending level of support. But remember yesterday, everyone was so certain yesterday during this 4-hourly candle that we're going to be dropping, and look what it ended up doing. It ended up being a little falling, there's a hammer at the bottom, and it ended up signaling a reversal back up to the upside. So don't be freaking out just yet because the red candle on Bitcoin. I will say there's another reason this bearish action is happening. Of course, we did hit our head on the top level of this resistance zone once again, forming this ascending triangle. And real quick, in case anyone was watching last night, I think DZ was getting a little confused, and he didn't let me answer when I was on the blockchain. There's a difference between ascending triangle and ascending wedges. Just so you guys know, real quick, TA, teaching real quick. wedges break in opposite directions. So if this was an ascending wedge where the resistance was rising and the support was rising, that's actually a bearish predictor. Ascending triangles with a flat top, these actually usually break bullish. And in fact, the prediction still stands. If I were to move the breakout point to the top of this zone, actually, we have a prediction here of 22,000, almost 600, but we'll call it 580 is the prediction. That does not only break out from this ascending triangle, it also breaks through this descending level of resistance we have been in for a very long time. And the reason why that would be important is it would cancel out a longer time frame descending triangle, which of course is bearish. But let's zoom back in here and talk more about what we're looking at maybe the rest of the day, maybe the rest of this week, is that Bitcoin is still finding some good support here. And as long as we keep setting higher lows, we are good, and that breakout is still happening. I'm going to look at Ethereum here in just a second, but really quickly, let's look at some levels potentially that Bitcoin could find support on here using our Fibonacci retracement tool. Currently, we are hovering right above the 0.382 level at about 19,869. So keep your eyes on that level if we cannot hold. Do we rematch what we hit yesterday where we almost touched down to 0.5 at 19,740? Or do we actually go all the way to that level? If we cannot hold that level, now we're talking about that lower level of support, that ascending level of support in the golden pocket area around 19,500, give or take. Watch those levels. Of course, again, we're watching the Dixie start to rise a little this morning. We're also seeing the yields begin to rise. So this is an area where this will put pressure, bearish pressure. That's a very interesting candle. If I were to go out to the daily chart, that's going to change there. But when you're seeing the yields and the Dixie begin to climb, that is going to cause equities like cryptocurrency to fall. But that does not cancel out what is happening here on this shorter time frame. That bullish money is coming into the space. We're going to talk more about that with Kelly here in just a couple of minutes. But I wanted to urge you guys, before you freak out and just because you're seeing the prices drop, make sure you're staying tuned to what's happening on the charts before you just make outlandish thoughts of saying, oh, it's over, we're heading back down, we're setting new lows. That's not the way you want to think. You want to always be thinking about, hey, what is the chart telling me? Is this a part of the plan? Going over to Ethereum, Ethereum actually did break through its descending level of resistance on its symmetrical triangle pattern. Now, while we're currently fighting back inside of it, you guys know when doing technical analysis, lines are never perfect. That's why you have zones. That's why the reason I had those zones on Bitcoin is because you don't necessarily always go to a certain point. There's nothing special about a flat level of a line that means the price has to react. So this is another one that it has begun to break out bullish. Let's watch how Ethereum acts here over the next couple of hours and days. But in this symmetrical triangle pattern, which, you know, more often not descending price actions into symmetrical triangle patterns go bearish, this one does look to be going bullish. And the prediction by opening up the entire channel here gives us a prediction on Ethereum heading back up to the resistance level of this trading channel we've been in for a while. We could see a price climb over 1,500 once again, start heading back towards 1,600. Again, zooming out here, Ethereum, ever since hitting its high back here in August, this temporary high, has been in a falling trading channel. But the good news about these channels, again, is not only do we have a short-term time frame that we could be moving up, but these more often than not break to the upside. And just so you guys know, if we were to break bullish out of this trading channel, this gives us a prediction right here, opening it up and moving over to a breakout point. Let's even go conservatively, go back down. This could see us head back up towards $2,000, sitting right around 1987. So keep your eyes on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Really quickly, I want to show Cardano, and then we will jump in and spend a little more time on DOT. Cardano is working on its own levels. It is not quite broken out of the falling wedge. It's at the top level of the zone, but you'll notice the triangle I have on the smaller levels because it has spent way more time. I want to make sure people can see this. All right, there we go. It has spent way more times on the lower levels of these zones. I extended it up for the wicks, but right now we're spending time in that zone of the resistance. If we can have a breakout, this prediction still says that we could end up going all the way up above 49, almost to 49 cents if we end up holding this prediction. So keep your eyes on 49 cents. That, of course, still also takes us back to a falling level of resistance on Cardano in a longer time frame descending triangle. So keep your eyes on what's happening there. Just like Bitcoin, it would be very, very good for Cardano to go ahead and break through that resistance and cancel out the descending triangle. But for right now, shorter time frame, keep your eyes on 49 cents as a potential breakout point for Cardano. Now, We're going to move in, and this is going to be a normal thing where we cover coins. Sometimes when we're going deeper into Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I want to make sure we're going deeper into other projects as well. And today, the one I want to explore is DOT. So go ahead and go back to my screen here, Sman. We're going to play around here with DOT a little bit and explore what's going on. DOT at the moment is technically in a bearish formation on this smaller time frame of a descending triangle. We just talked about ascending triangle on Bitcoin, which is bullish. Well, the same is true of the opposite direction. Falling or descending triangles are normally bearish, although right now we are hovering right around the breakout point to the upside. Can we actually turn this the other way and break to the upside? That is a potential. The reason why I'm even considering this and looking at this and saying this is legitimate, if you guys go back months ago, we talked here on this channel about the significant support line of $6 here on DOT. And so when you're looking at this flat bottom that we've been in now, ever since back here, you know, we've been traveling in it since September 19th, it looks like. If you're looking at this flat level of support is very, very strong on DOT. This is where you're starting to see, it's just there's no one else that really wants to sell below these levels. Does that mean it's impossible? No, it does not mean it's impossible. But it is a very strong level of support that has held up for a very long time. You're going back all the way to here in these same ranges. We had wicks drop down below $7 right here. We went down in touch with a wick back here in July. And of course, we're still finding support on it right here. So what is important is that we do not spend too much more time down here, because the longer you spend at a support level and you keep hitting it, the more likely you are to break through. And of course, you know, if you're thinking about a piece of concrete, I've used this analogy before, but the first time you hit concrete with a hammer, you probably won't do anything to it. But the more and more you hit, the more vulnerable that concrete could be to finally breaking. So what will be very important for DOT is to follow the rest of the crypto space that looks like it has some short-term bullish action and go ahead and break out not only of this descending triangle line, but this resistance level as well, which is a falling wedge. So for this one, I'm gonna have to back out all the way to the weekly chart and make sure you guys are aware of a longer time frame formation that is very bullish. This is a falling wedge pattern where our support levels are falling, our resistance is falling, but we are coming super close to the end of these formations. Very, very rarely do we actually ever make it down to these tips, these peaks right here. It's actually more in the region around, around this section right here to about where we are currently that you usually end up seeing breakouts. And the fact that we're also using that very strong flat level of support of $6 is reason to believe that potentially this could be the momentum that DOT needs to break out of its very, very long-term falling wedge. And again, wrestling with this little stuff, we're going to need to see that breakout happen very soon. Let's explore some other things here, though. And when we're looking at technical analysis, I want to look at the Bollinger Bands really quickly, where on the daily chart, we just flipped the 20 SMA and are currently using it as support. Now, yes, we're hanging right at it, but this is going to be very, very important that DOT continues to hold above the 20 SMA, because this could be part of the rally that ends up allowing us to rally up and break out in this Bollinger Bands. You're also seeing the Bollinger Bands are starting to constrict. This is a very good thing if it ends up breaking to the upside, because when you have a constriction of Bollinger Bands, that means that there's a lot of consolidation coming together. The shorts and the longs aren't as extreme, and a breakout should be coming very soon. When you pair this with the other technical analysis, there is strong reason to believe that that action could be bullish, especially when looking at the fact that cryptocurrency as a whole could stand to be benefited here as the global economy begins to question if we're going to be able to continue to raise interest rates on money. In fact, other currencies are already going ahead and getting a little bit more loose and printing more money. How long before the dollar follows its take and that actually benefits the cryptocurrency space? Last thing I want to look at here is the Lux Algo packet. Now, I'm going to play around with some settings here again. This is something I've been playing more with recently. You guys know here at this channel, we love Lux Algo, but it's very important to make sure you're always updating your settings. So right now, you're going to see we're under a sell order currently, and it has a take profit level all the way down at $2. Now, this is a little bit extreme. You're going to see this wave right here, this support wave, is not anywhere close to that. It is below the $6, but this is a little bit too much of a ridiculous take right here. I actually want to show you guys what it looks like when I play with the settings and I adjust some of these things. It can make some better calls for us. The first one I'm going to look at right here, presets. I'm actually going to change this to a contrarian trader, and this was something I was reading about the other day. This is a lot more beneficial for people who want to use Lux Algo to take advantage of the price actions when they happen. The way this actually works is it kind of looks at when a lot of negative pressure is coming to the space and says, all right, there's been so much negative, it's time to go ahead and flip and turn back positive. Same thing, if there's too much bullish momentum, after a while it ends up flipping and saying sell. This currently puts us under a buy order, meaning after a long period, ever since back here in July of bearish pressure, we actually have been under so much of it that a contrarian view says we should be under a buy order right now and gives us a take profit actually breaking up bullish at around $10.36. Now, it's going to take some weeks and a while to do it, but this is actually very interesting. I'm watching, a lot of people have complained when looking at signals on Luxalgo. They say, well, the signal flashes midway or late in a trend, and then I can't actually take advantage of it. When you turn on that contrarian setting, look at a couple of these levels and flashes of buy and sell orders. Are they perfect? No, there's no such thing as technical analysis is perfect. But these orders are actually a lot closer to bottoms and tops than what you have with traditional. This is one of the cool ways you can edit and work with Luxalgo to make sure that you're always on top of the best moves. And so this is becoming slowly one of my favorite ways to use Luxalgo and do technical analysis, is turning on that contrarian chart and looking at it actually place me signals at peaks and bottoms. That you guys can't see that one. That one right there is a beautiful little buy right there. This all said, DOT is sitting in a questionable standpoint. There are still bearish sentiment. There's still bearish technicals out there. There's bearish indicators. But at the same time, when you're looking at the rest of the crypto space, when you're looking at these strong levels of support, when you're looking at the Bollinger Bands constricting, saying a breakout is coming soon, and the fact that despite there are some bearish signals short term, long term, we're actually sitting at a place where bullish narrative should play out and we should break through this falling wedge. There's a strong reason to believe this could be a very good buy spot for DOT. That is not financial advice. That is just me looking at the chart, looking at the narratives, looking at the sentiment in the space and saying, hey, this is a great time. If you have not bought and gotten into DOT already, you absolutely should at least consider it and do your own research. This is something I'm definitely probably today or tomorrow going to be adding some DOT to my portfolio. But that is all I have for you guys here on Polkadot. I hope that technical analysis helped you guys get a better view of what's happening in the charts. We're about to transition and go into some more information and charts with Kellam and explore that smart money, explore that narrative in the space that we actually should be having some bullish narrative very soon. But before we go there, I want to welcome in here Kally. How are you doing, my man? What is going on?
I am just happy to be back here with my original crypto family, Coffee and Crypto. You, TA Tim, Smay Nation, Unite,
right.
Zach,
Nation.
Mr. Zach Fletcher. We got a T-Shroom. I'm just happy to be back. You know, as you guys know, I have never really left the family. I just had to free agent a little bit for how I pay my rent, but I'm still here with you guys. I'm always here with you.
Love it.
I love you, Kelly.
Dude, yeah, it's one thing. Like I think we talked about it last time you were on, that people assume it's like, oh, is there some sort of bad blood? It's like, no, not whatsoever.
Never.
Not at all.
Kelly is fam, and that is not going to change.
And Kelly, actually, this just in, Kelly just said he's going to come visit us and give us all warm hugs.
He better,
because he gives good hugs.
Hey, I'll hug anytime, man. I'm a hug monster for sure.
Boom. Well, before we jump into our topic of discussion and we jump onto some of those on-chain charts that you're going to be bringing us the good stuff with, Kelly, we got to do one of the most important things of this show, and that is look at the question of the day and give our best answers. So, T-Shroom, this is going to be the first time in a while I have no idea what you're about to ask. And I really hope it's better than yesterday.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the question of the day is, would you rather be a defense attorney for either Do Kwon, of disgraced founder of Terra Labs, or Alec Mashinsky, hated ex-CEO of Celsius? Let it sink in.
Say that one more time. Yeah.
And I'm going to say it one
That's
more
easy.
time.
This is such a T-Shroom question.
Would you rather be a defense attorney for either Do Kwon, of disgraced Terra Labs, or Alec Mashinsky, hated ex-CEO of Celsius? That's your question of the day.
So
you're going to throw it to Kelly first.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go with Daquan, absolutely. First, we need to have a sidebar and figure out, is his name Doquan or Duquan? I hear everybody say it differently.
It's definitely Doe.
We should call him what his mother calls him, right? Yeah. But no, I would go Daquan because
Wow.
I think I think Mashinsky had definitely had malicious intent. Whether or not he was like actively trying to hurt people, I think he was actively trying to subvert truth. I think Daquan more than likely had just had a less than honest team around him that acted out those less than truths. I don't think it was specifically his intention. Whereas Mashinsky, I think it was his intention. So I wouldn't want to defend him.
So you think Quan has a better case? All right, cool. Tim, what you got?
So you're talking. That's my clarifying question, because the way it was worded, I'm either the lawyer for Do Kwon or I am Mashinsky.
No, you're the lawyer for either one.
Okay, well,
defense attorney.
I want to make sure. All right, defense attorney. Yeah,
Kelly picked up on this.
They're both gonna be guilty, so you're not gonna have a great case. But I think that Mashinsky would be a very hard one to defend.
Okay.
Especially with those reports coming out. I think I'm gonna go Do Kwon. Also, I mean, the dude's doing an amazing job hiding from authorities, not even trying. So.
Wait a minute. There's one huge caveat here. You didn't tell us. I mean, was it like we're only getting paid 2 Bitcoin for Daquan, but 1,000 Bitcoin for Mashinsky? Because that could also be a deciding factor here.
Well, you'll never be able to withdraw the Bitcoin from your bank account.
Interesting fold there, Kelly Kellam. I want to throw the question over to Smay first before we get into
so I was pondering my answer because just like as Tim reacted to the yesterday's question of the day, that's how I feel about this question of the day for me. I'm going to say, I was thinking about it, Kim Kardashian. I'm going to be her defense attorney. Gary Gensler's going for it.
All right, you are disqualified from this question.
Yeah, that is not how you play
All
the
right,
game.
I would rather be the defense attorney for Do Kwon because I think there'd be a bigger payout at the end of the day as a lawyer. I think there'd be a lot more legal fees, so that'd be really, really great for me as the defense attorney. That's going to wrap up our question of the day. Thank you all for participating. Unless we want to look at the
before we go back to Kelly, can you T-Shroom just let the audience know why do you really want him to be named Do Kwon?
People did not understand this question, which is unfortunate, and I'm sorry. I think that's definitely on me.
I mean, the question was pretty self-explanatory. Do you want to be a defense attorney for guy A or guy B? It's pretty easy, and both of them did negative things, so it's a hard question to answer. Yes, but do tell us why you say "do." Is it because the word "do"?
You're trying to avoid the question.
Why are you so insistent upon calling him Do Kwon?
Because it's kind of like what Nike says: just do it.
Well, that was not an answer, but I mean, I guess we'll never know. We'll never know why T-Shroom loves.
It's like it's funny because he's just so stubborn to keep calling him Duke now. Like it's like he knows now that it's Doe. He knows he's wrong, but he's gonna fight this battle until the very end.
Let's move on.
Let's move on, indeed. All right, Kelly. I know it is very hard to feel this. This is the unfortunate side of when you're doing these shows because the price action gets very volatile. And so it's really hard to enter into this topic that we're about to go into when the price is falling down. But I know that I've been watching and listening to a lot of stuff you're putting out. There is still a lot of bullish narrative happening on-chain metrics, as well as the fact that we just found out within the last 2 weeks, over $1 billion came into the space between Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're also watching whales move money off exchange, which is a sign that they are going into a space where they expect the price to climb. Can you give us a little more insight and data as to what is actually going on in this space? Should we be thinking the space is about to go bullish, or is there something that's a contrarian and actually calling for a downward price action over the next couple of weeks?
Well, Tim, I'm glad you asked. I think the biggest consideration we have to have right now is for those of you that follow on my weekly Crypto Answered Twitter Spaces, which I will be doing one today at 2:00. One of the regular guests I have on there is a very, very skilled trader named Jesse Olson. And I'm a little bit jealous of him and the way he trades because I feel like I have far too much stuff I'm considering at all times that he looks at the charts, specifically only the charts, not even on-chain data, just the charts. And he's following exactly what the TA is saying because the TA, a lot of times that you'll read, look at the charts and you can show me the charts, I can tell you the news, that sort of thing, right? So with that being said, there's a lot of stuff going on right now that I think is drowning people and really really reaching a good, accurate thesis about what's happening with the market because we're looking at the charts and the charts may say one thing, but we even though the charts are saying that to us and our years of experience of analysis, we're saying, but this time is different because of this context and this global economic and this and that. At the end of the day, we need to isolate and concentrate, really focus on the things that we know well. And so one of the things that I've sort of gravitated towards is not only looking at on-chain data, but looking at on-chain data as it's correlated with what's happening with the metrics on TA. So why don't we just dive into that? And I'm going to start with your question first, which here we go. Hold on, we've got too many screens open here. The question that you had in regards to what's going on with addresses and wallets and all this sort of stuff. So here we are on Glassnode. Many people use different things. It could be Glassnode, Santiment, QuipterQuant. They all basically are looking at this on-chain data and giving us an insight to what different types of people in different categories, whether it's short-term, long-term holder, large wallet, small wallet, whatever it is, we can sort of gauge what's happening behind the scenes so we can really get a better context of what's going on. So as we can see here, addresses with non-zero balance, this has started to round out. This is just general of all wallets in general. But if we start looking at them more specifically, basically greater than 0.01, this has been this whole drop here. This whole drop, as you can see, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so we can see it a little more clear. This is basically a bullish divergence. People buying into the market weakness. Same thing with 0.1, buying into the market weakness. Greater than 1 Bitcoin. There's a strong buy into the weakness right here. This is about when Tesla sold its shares, or it's not shares, but its holdings of Bitcoin. But still, it's still going up. It's starting to round a bit. But now when we start getting into the larger wallets, we can see, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit further so we can see it more clearly. This is addresses with balance of greater than 10 Bitcoin, as you can see right here. And this has been going up for this entire drop since basically March 28th of 2022, more specifically, a little bit further back in February, but there's been buying into this market weakness. Okay. Now we get into a bit higher. This is greater than 100. This has been pretty flat. Okay. There's been a small sell off right here. This is in line with around when Tesla sold its holdings of Bitcoin. But now when we get to the larger wallets of 1,000 or more, this has been selling off. So this has been, this cohort of people has been selling into this weakness. Okay. But now when we get into the real whales, the 10,000 equal to or larger than 10,000, we've had a very, consistent buying. This is an uptrend, as you can see, all the way back from about February of 2022. Very strong buying into the market weakness.
Wow.
Now, when we go a little bit deeper on all this, one of the things I want to show, the market's weak, the market's, all this global context. But if we look at this right here, if we look at the 3-day chart, okay, and these are Keltner channel. This is a Keltner channel, but just with the bands illustrated. So you can see the lower band and the upper band. Every time on this 3-day chart that the Bitcoin has come down and basically tapped this lower band, we've ranged sideways and then gone into an uptrend. Lower band, sideways, uptrend. This was obviously a black swan event with the COVID crisis, but we V-shaped recovery right out of that and then rode the trend all the way up. Now, the thing that's different here is we did touch this upper band breakdown, and we haven't even touched the center line, which instead, if those of you who've gone through the TA Academy or the TA course on the Club DeFi will know that the center band on Bollinger Bands is a 20 SMA. On Keltner channels, this is a 20 EMA, which is an exponential moving average. So it's a little bit more reactive. We haven't even tested this except for one time, all the way back here. And this must be May of 2021. So we haven't even tested this. So what I'm looking at right here is we have a huge bullish setup historically based on everything is happening. That doesn't mean we're going to go an absolute bull run, but I am expecting at minimum the price to come up and test this 20 EMA, which is $25,190. Now, to support that further, if we zoom this, this is a 3-day, looking at it a little bit closer. This 25,000 is also the gold, the midterm golden retrace from this breakdown point of 31,000. So this is a very critical point. Even when we hit this doesn't, I want just people to be aware. I am bullish in the midterm at minimum for us to come up and test this, but that doesn't mean that I'm absolutely saying that we're going to go all the way to the moon from here. I'm saying this is a hurdle I'm looking at. And from this hurdle, which is also this downtrend resistance, this is a critical hurdle right here. And once we break this, then I'll be looking at this hurdle right here, which is the previous macro floor, which is now this huge sort of resistance. Once we break this at 29 to 30,000 area, then we still have to look at this 41,000 level, which is the macro golden retrace, which is essentially this Fibonacci from the top all the way to this bottom right here. As you can see, is this golden pocket, which is a critical resistance before we can even say we can even think about hitting previous all-time highs. And the last thing I want to bring up and all that, even if we start hitting this bullish relief sort of rally, whether or not we break those resistances, say October is bullish as it usually is. Well, we still have all these earning reports that are coming out from the Q3 for traditional stock markets. Now, should Bitcoin be separated from traditional stock markets? Absolutely, I think it should, but we're not there yet. So we're still tied with strong correlation with what's going on with the NASDAQ, with the Dow Jones, with all these major earning reports, especially with everything that's going on. We need to see, hopefully a lot of these companies have lowered their estimates, because if not, we're going to be coming short, drastically short of these estimates. And we're going to have second to third week and moving into the end of the month. Even if we rally, if these estimates come short, if we come short of the estimates, then we could still crash just from that level. Now, the last thing I want to show is this right here. So regardless of what's happening with the markets, with on-chain, with all that sort of stuff, this green line that we have right here is the realized price, which is the average price of every Bitcoin in supply divided by the last time it moved. So you're seeing the average price, the realized price of all Bitcoin in circulation. Now, anytime we've gone below this realized price level has proven to be, even if you started DCAing the second you broke below it, anytime below this line has proven to be a great portion, a great entry point for Bitcoin in the long term. And we're not only below that, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. We're not only below that, we're also below this orange reddish line, which is a 200-week moving average. But in addition to that, we can see the short-term holder cost basis and long-term holder cost basis. All these are bunched up right here very tightly. This is showing that there's, obviously we've been going sideways, but there's a very tight, constricted amount of volatility that we haven't really, that's basically been constricted. There's going to be an explosion out of this, whether it's to the upside or the downside is yet to be seen. If it is to the downside, I expect it to be somewhat quicker resolved and bought up. But this is just something to be considered. We are below all these levels, which is proving to be an excellent buy point. And that being said, we can see right here, RSI is down. We're repeating these patterns. So even if we drop from here, I do expect, and I'm saying this, I think we are an excellent DCA zone, excellent buy zone. Could we see a downside? Yes, but I think it's going to be short-lived, and anything below where we're at now is an absolute steal in the long term. That's what I'm seeing. Back to you, Tim.
Boom. Kellam. What great stuff you always bring us on the charts. Let's break some of it down, though, in layman's terms, and also get your take on some current event things going on, because, here's the issue. And this is one of the reasons, Kelly, you and I are both kind of in this realm of how we think about things. And that's why I love getting your take as well. Some people would want to just stick to technical analysis and they're like, who cares what's happening in the news? Who cares what's happening everywhere else? I'm just going to look at the charts and make my decision based off it. Some people just want to pay attention to the news and sentiment, and they're like, who cares what the charts are saying? That lies to you. I always love getting to have a well-rounded thought going on here. And while we're seeing a lot of bullish things on the charts, potential that there is a chance that the downside still gets taken up. What is your thoughts about current events right now, especially when we're looking at over in Europe? They are on the brink of absolute disaster. It looks like banks are going to be going insolvent very soon, in which case the governments will be forced to make the decision. Do they go ahead and bail out those banks to save the savings accounts and the pensions funds and the hedge funds? And then, because of the way we set ourselves up with them as a global economy, how will Jerome Powell and the Fed act? Because now you're talking about, well, Europe is going to be forced to go ahead and start quantitative easing and actually printing more money. We've already seen, I think someone talked about it yesterday, Japan actually never even started tightening. They're just continue to ease and print more money. How long before the United States has to say, we can't keep going at this rate, or we can shut down the global economy as we know it? Does that have any effect in your brain about maybe giving more room to say bullish narrative is coming very soon? Or do you think Jerome Powell just keeps going and we keep pushing the limits of what we actually can get away with?
Well, here's where my mind goes with all this. So the global context, the economy, world economies, inflation, all these things, supply chain, it's like all this stuff is bunched up in this crazy conglomeration of just destructive potentialities for markets and world economies, right? However, on the flip side of that, we're looking at stuff that's going on. If we're looking just at the Bitcoin chart, if you didn't know anything about the global context of anything that was going on, you'd be like, man, this is the most bullish setup I've ever seen ever, right? Mm-hmm. Because of all the things based on historical signals. Now, given we are in a quantitative tightening, a massively quantitative tightening sort of season, which Bitcoin has never really faced before, coupled with a terrible potential economic downturn. Now, on the flip side of that, if you take all the news out of it and you just look at the chart, and like I said, all these signals are really lining up. I'm going to share my screen just to support what I'm saying here. All these things are really lining up. And if we go back to this chart here, this is from a post that I did a little while back, about a week ago. We see reserve risk is lower than it's ever been. We see the MVRV saying it's absolute. Could be green pill, bull, could be red pill, bear. Mm-hmm. However, all these things being said, my question about all this is, we won't know until this resolves, but maybe the Bitcoin chart is giving us an indication, and maybe this is why technical analysis works so well over time, that although all these negative things and all these negative potentialities might seem like they're weighing on the market and might be an indication that everything might collapse, maybe the Bitcoin chart is giving us indication that all things happen in a sort of cyclical pattern based on fractals and based on Fibonacci's, just like trees are organized in a forest. If people didn't know this, you can look up documentaries on this. Trees are organized in a forest based on Fibonacci sequences, which is a natural occurrence of how things happen. So same thing with time. Maybe the Bitcoin chart is giving us an indication that all these potentialities, again, they are potentialities, may be coming to a head. And just like the UN, basically reading the Riot Act to the US, asking for, softer, more dovish sort of behavior, less hawkish, because it is weighing on world economies. Maybe this is indication that maybe all this stuff is about to flip. We won't know yet. So I still would urge good risk management, having tight stops if you're trading. If you're a long-term trader, DCA, you don't need to have stops. You just continue to average in over time. But maybe the Bitcoin chart, because it's as bullish as it is signifying that the Fed is about to pivot. We won't know that, but I think it's a high likelihood, because world economies cannot service their debt if the dollar index is going as high as it is. And if the world economies can't service their debt, then that will send us into a world recession. And our government does not want that, because that works against everything they're trying to do. So all these things are tied together, but maybe Bitcoin is a shining light. Maybe the chart's saying that things are about to change.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting next couple of months. I think, I love the analogy you're talking about there, because you're right. Like, things in nature, they follow Fibonacci, and then it's crazy. You got to kind of ask that question, like, why does Fibonacci levels work so well in trading? Because you would think, like, I would even understand with the trees analogy, there's some science you could use to explain why the trees go that way. There's, as they're growing, things happen in standard deviation. But markets, they seem to be more man-made, that things can be impacted a lot more, and yet they continue to flow that way. It's going to be interesting what happens. There's still a lot of potential to the downside, absolutely. Do you have a plan put in place? I released a video for our members here a little bit ago with my plan for a disaster scenario, allotting for all the way down to 9,000. Really quickly, have you developed a plan whatsoever? Not saying that it means that you think we're gonna go that low, but do you have a plan put in place for a disaster scenario on Bitcoin?
My plan is anytime we're below realized price, I'm going to DCA like crazy. And I've been, it's funny. I'm so, I'm so cash poor right now. Like I'm like figuring out like, okay, I guess I'm having this flavor of chicken ramen today, but and that's because right now with the market as low as it is on all the signals, even if we drop, it doesn't matter to me. The way the signals are and all the data that's present that I can gather and dig into says, even if we drop, this is an excellent buy zone. So I feel like any dollar that I'm not putting, that this is my strategy. This is not financial advice. Okay. Any dollar that I feel like I'm not putting into assets right now, and it's not only Bitcoin, AVAX, Cardano, DOT, Atom, Compound, all these coins, Matic. I'm also doing some stuff in some tech stocks and stuff like that because I want to diversify my portfolio, right? But any dollar I'm not putting in, I feel like I'm stealing $10,000 from myself. Right. So I'm cash poor because I'm trying to make myself future rich.
And that's something I feel like it's such a hard thing to wrestle with. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely, I loved how you said that, I'm very cash poor at the moment. There probably are still crypto influencers out there that are still sitting on a good amount of money. But I think the space as a whole, a lot of us are sitting in a cash poor situation. Literally, my wife and I this was back in March, April area, we were heavily considering purchasing a home. We had money to do so, but with crypto, with the prices it was going towards, and it was continuing to look like it was going down, I literally had to have a conversation with her. I was like, this is just too much of a golden opportunity to use this cash on a home. We need to use this, like what you just said right there. Like, yeah, a house could go up in value, but I'm like, are we potentially spending a couple $100,000 right now that if we just did this wisely and stayed conservative and were patient, we could save this and this will become millions in the future. But when you have thinking like that, when you have that type of logic, you do things like, hey, yeah, technically speaking, I look at my portfolio and I see millions there, but I'm acting like my portfolio is literally in the pennies and I'm eating ramen noodles and I'm not going out to eat anymore. I'm choosing to, instead of getting a ribeye, I'm going and getting chicken thighs that have skin on them for $1.99 a pound. And then I'm just going to peel the skin. It's just all these small decisions that, and here's the thing, Kelly, like you and I, we're in the crypto space, we've been established here for now a little bit. What would you say, this is my last question, what would you say to anyone watching this video right now who is legitimately concerned because they're not necessarily heavily invested in the crypto space and they know that this is a golden opportunity to get in, but at the same time, there is that very real situation that we do not know what jobs will look like, we do not know what food will cost. We have no idea what economics will look like here in the next couple of months. And so I'm torn between, do I continue to stack dollars because I need to be able to feed my family and keep a roof over my head and prepare for potential job change? Or do I take advantage of this golden opportunity and invest every penny I can in crypto?
Well, I mean, every man, every woman needs to, and when we were building out all the courses in Club DeFi, it's one of the first courses within the trading course actually had nothing to do with trading strategies. It was mind, psychology, risk tolerance, risk exposure, risk management, because if you don't get those things down, it doesn't matter how good of a trader you are. If you don't understand your risk management, your risk tolerance, your risk exposure, then strategies are irrelevant because you're going to lose your butt anyway. So what I would say is sit down, and it sucks to do in this day and age. My generation, I'm 38. We kind of did some checkbook balancing when I was a kid, but that very quickly changed once we had online banking and all this sort of stuff. But most people, I don't know a single person that currently, sits down and balances their checkbook. And the reason I bring that up is because most people don't sit down and have an actual balanced budget. They don't understand how much they're spending. So one, I would say, really identify what risk tolerance you have, meaning how much can you put in crypto that if it's lost forever, doesn't really affect your ability to food, shelter, some, personal relaxation, things that keep you sane, right? And healthy. You need to understand that. And then once you understand that, then you can put as much as possible within that parameter, because once you get outside of that, I know for myself, I'm 100% all in But I have a different sort of knowledge base about this stuff, that I also have a skill set that I can make moves if I need to get out of a situation if I need to. And I'm retired from the U.S. Air Force, so I have a paycheck coming in no matter what I do, no matter anything. So my risk exposure and tolerance is very different than most people. So I would say identify your risk tolerance is what I would say, and invest as much as you can within that tolerance level, and know that based on data, we are in an excellent buy position, and do with that what you will. That's all I can say about it.
Great answer there, Kelly. I can tag on even to that. Like, here's what is great about cryptocurrency, and specifically Bitcoin, that doesn't always feel great. I loved how you talked about, generation stuff. I'm 28, Kelly, so I'm 10 years behind you. But I remember watching my parents sit there and balance checkbooks, and my parents are baby boomers. They both were born back in the 50s. There was a lot of economic stuff going on back then that they had to pinch pennies and protect themselves. We have lived in a world now for a long time, especially younger generation, that we've just watched inflation as part of our normal life. We've watched the concept of just borrowing money, forget what you owe down the road, what can I have right now? This instant gratification movement, because we have such fragile money systems, such a soft form of money. The good and the bad of Bitcoin is that Bitcoin being hard means it's actually valuable, which means you actually have to start thinking responsibly, which means you start learning how to have that delayed gratifications. You actually start paying attention to things you spend money on. You actually start to weigh in, is this actually worth it? I know it's going to cost me $10 right now, but is the $10 right now worth what it's going to bring me? Or can I save that $10 and that $10 will become $20 here in a couple of years? We have not had that kind of thinking because of our currency for a very long time. And the beauty of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is that it's actually going to start forcing us to think that way again. But for those who cannot change that mindset, for those who have the terrible habits of having to chase instant gratification all day, every single day, those are the ones that will fall behind in this next bit economically, because we are entering a season, whether Bitcoin becomes currency or not, that people are going to have to start making some smart decisions. And I really hope that people start learning this lesson very valuably. And that is what's going to set Bitcoin apart and make it so strong, is that it'll finally teach people, and not just people, governments, how to be responsible and how to understand you can't just throw money at things and fix them. You need to be smart. You need to plan. You need to have delayed gratification.
So I'm gonna follow that up with just a very brief statement. You have two options. You can have pain now and pleasure later, or pleasure now and pain later. So I'd rather, you can balance that a little bit, but you can cut out, like I remember when my mom visited me in New York about 8 years ago, and she goes, "Okay, Kelly, I just want you to know that I budget $20 a month for eating out." And I'm like, "You're crazy. Like, are you serious? Like in New York,
she eats out of McDonald's.
You spend $20 on breakfast on the first day of the month, okay? But that's also a choice. Do you have to spend that $20, or can you go and spend $2 to $4 on your groceries to make the food? So you can pick where you want to cut that actually ends up building over time. Ben, I'm over with the BitBoy team now, and Ben did a video the other day that, if you just did $100 a week, and $100 a week is more than some people can do. But if you just did $100 a week for the last 9 years and didn't sell, didn't worry about price fluctuations, you'd have over $1.6 million right now worth of Bitcoin. So divide that by 10. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you did $10 a week for the last, that would be $160,000 if you just did $10 a week. So we all have the ability to do it. It's just, do we have the ability to have impulse control? And that's it.
Even more important, I think I love what you just said right there, but I'm going to change it up just a little bit, because I think that's another line of thinking that needs to be changed. What you just said, if you bought $100 a month for how long was your period?
A week. For the last 9 years.
All right, $100 a week for the last 9 years. That would give you, what you said, $1.6 million, right?
Yeah.
Here's the only problem with that thought. You still just attached the US dollar value to it. You know what's more important is you would have 80 Bitcoin. The future of this, the whole purpose of getting into crypto is to acquire sats. I asked someone, those of you who watched that Saturday video, last Saturday when I got to go out in the streets, I talked to a guy who owned Bitcoin. He had purchased Bitcoin. He's like, yeah, I was in Bitcoin. Like I bought it up around like 60 and then I got out around 30. I was like, oh, so did you lose half your Bitcoin? He's like, yeah. And you didn't get to catch it. It was like, you did not lose half your Bitcoin. Now, your US dollar amount just got cut in half, but you still have the same amount of Bitcoin today as you had when you purchased it at 60,000. And that's what, to me, when I did the math, I was like, I'm still working every day to solidify it, but I have completely changed my brain from what is my dollar amount in value of Bitcoin I own? What is my dollar amount of Ethereum? What is my dollar amount of Cardano? What is my dollar amount of DOT? What is my dollar amount of Atom? It's more, no, how many of them do I have? Because the future of currency is going to be sound money. The question is what, and then the question is what's backing that sound money, and cryptocurrency is going to be there. It's time to start stacking sats and stop worrying about the dollar portfolio. Keep enough money in the current situation that we still use US dollars to pay your bills and to live your life, but prepare for that future. And again, when you prepare that way, you will be the one who lives the luxurious life. You're the one who lives and gets to do everything you want. Again, that's really big on our channel. You know, if you guys end up wanting to get rich and you guys want to buy a Lambo and you want to do everything, that is completely fine. More power to you. Love it. What's big for me, and I know even people like Kelly, it's one of the reasons Kelly blended so well with us, is because we are people who it's not about having a mass amount of money. It's about having freedom and sovereignty at any point to do the things that we were made to do the things that we like to do, to help other people with it as well. And the future of being able to do that is stacking sats, not stacking dollars. Well, we're about to.
I said hallelujah this evening. Yeah. I said hallelujah.
We're about to transition our community time. Kelly, I know whenever you need to go, just let us know. No pressure, but I know I talked to you beforehand. You said you're going to hang with us here for a little bit. We're going to answer some chats. I saw some super chats that I think had your name in them, so definitely want to get those to you.
We had some super chats.
And I think today we have some normal chat. We were recording some normal chat here as well.
I'm going to be honest with you. There are none.
There were no good questions in chat.
So we're going to have to talk about that after the show.
Well, here's the thing. This is your chance to either ask a super chat to Kelly or anyone else on this team. This is your chance to ask good questions in chat. We'll try to answer as much as possible, and then we will be playing a game here in just a couple of minutes called Name That Coin. We played this a couple days ago, and T-shirt won. You know, it was a very good game.
Not a surprise.
Eric Wallen is donated $5 for me to get a 12-pack of ramen.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Eric Wallen.
Does that cover a 12-pack of ramen these days?
No.
Not New York. That covers about
it doesn't.
A 2-pack. But it's okay. My wife is Japanese. We actually make ramen from scratch here. You know, we
how do you make ramen?
The pig knuckles and all the stuff and make the broth. And, you know, we get real old school on it.
Tim, did you just ask how do you make ramen from scratch?
Well, no. Well, I mean, I understand that there's a way to make it, but I'm saying what ingredients have to go buy, and like, do they have?
Oh yeah, you've got to get like it depends on if you're doing like a beef broth or pork broth, but you get the, you know, I forget what, there's a specific bone that you're supposed to get. My wife knows what it is. I forget. But you boil that and you actually make like a bone broth, you know, with, to make the tonkatsu ramen.
Yep.
And then you boil that also with onions and other stuff like that. And then we don't make the noodles from scratch. We get really good noodles from the store. I don't know if you guys have ever been to the store, but yeah, we get stuff at the store. And then we just mix it together with some pork chashu, which is like sliced pork belly.
Yep.
With a soft-boiled eggs that's soaked in soy sauce. Man, I'm hungry right now. I'm about to
Kelly, you're speaking my language. You are speaking my language, Kelly.
Smay, back up to what you were saying. Were you about to try to go after me right there? Were you trying to cause a fight right there?
No. I was asking a clarifying question.
That was an aggressive clarifying question.
Dude, it was
we got a good question from Mr. JT Skinner, who is an OG in this chat. I remember seeing him for a long time in here. He asked, what's my Dixie dollar level where the Fed will have to stop hiking rates? Well, I don't think there's no specific actual level, but let me see if I could pull that up. We can look at that together. Traditional markets, and here we go. So I think one of the things, you know, indicators don't necessarily full on work on an asset or an asset class like the Dixie, but it does give good indication. This is the same Keltner channel that we're looking at on Bitcoin. But if we go, let's go on the 3-day, or actually let's go on the weekly. Boom, boom, boom. So we have some key levels here. We can go right here. Do a level here. There we go. So we almost clipped this previous level, which was all the way back from July of 2021, or sorry, 2001. And I think we could get up here to 120. But my biggest issue with it is that this goes back to the context that we were talking about. One, we're inside this upper band of the Keltner channel, which isn't the biggest issue. I think the biggest issue is what we were speaking about before, which is world and global economies already at the point where they're on the verge of default or approaching the verge of default very quickly. And if we start having large economies defaulting, we get this cascading domino effect to which the world goes into a massive recession, which would be probably much worse than the 1929 Great Depression. So I think that it's more likely than not. I don't think we're just going to not have a rate hike, because that was one of the things I wanted to mention. November 2nd is the next FOMC meeting. And what does that follow? That follows almost immediately, about a week and a half after most of the Q3 earnings reports come in from the traditional markets, traditional assets and companies. So I don't think we're just going to not have a rate hike. We're still going to have a rate hike, but I don't think it's going to be. I think we'll probably start softening. I personally don't think we're going to have another 75 basis points. I think we're going to have 50 basis points and then very dovish talk as well. So I think, but this all depends on what's happening with these earnings reports. So yeah. I think the bigger context here is these, what's happening with the UK and the Great British Pound. They're doing this massive buyback right now on bonds and treasuries. So that's a huge shift. Because of that, a lot of people in Britain are also moving. If you look at the transaction volume in Britain, there's a huge spike in transaction volume for British pounds into Bitcoin. So people are also not trusting what's going on with the government as well, right? In Britain. And then we also have the ECB starting to not necessarily pivot, but the talk, the dovishness is starting to come in. So I think the U.S., the Fed is going to have to start pivoting rather quickly, but they're going to try to do it while trying to save face also. So that's kind of my thoughts about that.
No, I completely 110% agree. And that was, if we hadn't gotten all that news that we just got out of Europe, I think, Kelly, I think 75 was on the next plan. If the last thing we heard from Jerome Powell is he said the expectation was to increase by 125 points the rest of the year, if not 100. That was before all the terrible news about Europe and the banks. I think that he's going to really have to check some stuff out and readjust to things he does not want to do. And unfortunately, while that would probably be good for Bitcoin and equities, it will not be good for the price of food and the price of expenditures, the price of housing. It's going to be kicking that can down the road. But he's getting to a point where the real problem is he started too late, because if he had started this earlier, we could have gotten inflation out of the way more or earlier. Instead, what we're doing now is we're going to be forced to back off and let inflation rear its head again. Otherwise, we could have an absolute collapse in the global economy, and that is not anything that they want to see happen. Something I think is really important that you said really, really, you put it really well. You don't see volume on the Dixie, on the DXY. So it is hard to use formations. It's hard to use a lot of indicators. But something you said earlier, one of the tools you absolutely can use on the DXY is Fibonacci. And I want to show you guys real quick. Go to my screen here, Smay. If I were to go back to this peak that we had back in 2020, and I went to the bottom that we experienced back here in 21, so this would be, March of 2020, January of 2021, we talk about Fibonacci retracement a whole lot, and that kind of stays in the middle between these two actions. Fibonacci extension is a very real thing as well. And look at the two price points that we've talked about very heavily, 115 and 120. 115 is the 1.76. So we've almost, I'll scoot in for you guys. We almost touched that one right there. That is what 115 is sitting at. And then guess where 120 is sitting? Right below. It's 119 technically, but that's sitting at the 2. So the doubling. These are the price points to look at for extension. And if you zoom in, Fibonacci is working on the smaller time frames as well. Let me go to the daily chart. And I forgot I have to get rid of this this Fibonacci level. I have to draw a new one. Someone said in chat, Tim, use the auto correct. It helps a lot. That's fine. I'll do it. Look at where we are currently sitting when we use the Fibonacci on a smaller time frame level. We're sitting currently right at and wrestling with the 0.382 level coming down. So if you guys are wondering, how do I chart the Dixie and I can't use all my traditional technical analysis because they don't really trade the Dixie, there's no volume there. Fibonacci is still a very, very important level to watch. Flat levels matching back to peaks. Of course, we had back out, years ago when we had, let's see, back in early 2000, we peaked up here around 120. That's another flat level. 2002, this was another flat level to keep your eye on. But of course, Fibonacci, that is the perfect level at the 2 of the Fibonacci. So keep your eyes on what's happening there. There's not a guarantee we have to go higher. So answering, I know this is a very long answer to this question, but there's nothing saying the Dixie has to go higher. But if it does, we have very good ideas of points that it could hit along the way.
Are we ready to read Super Chats?
We do have, I think we had one more come in while we were talking.
No, we have
2 more?
several.
Several?
We have several.
Come on.
So I'm going to go ahead and read those. We're kind of getting tight on time here, so thank you, Tim. Here we go. We have one from Eric Wallen says, and let's keep these answers timely. Theoretically, what would happen to Bitcoin's price if the U.S. would ever default on its national debt?
What happened to Bitcoin's price if it defaulted?
If U.S. would ever default on its national debt.
Kelly,
Bitcoin would go up.
I'm thinking that's going to go up. But Kelly, what is your thought there?
Well, I think it should go up, but we should also be decoupled from the traditional markets by this point, right? Because that's what Bitcoin was made. It was supposed to be an alternative asset that's not, drowned in all this convoluted nonsense of central bank control and conspiracy and all this nonsense, right? So I think it would actually probably drop quite drastically along with markets first, but then we have to remember Bitcoin is the only asset class in the history of the world that has a fixed supply and basically shrinking. And it's technically right now there is inflation because of the amount of coins that are mined, the rewards that are paid out. But that inflation shrinks every 4 years, which is what the halvening is. So we have basically shrinking supply and increasing demand. So I do think the market would pull back quite dramatically if the U.S. defaulted. But over time, you can't stop supply demand dynamic like we have with Bitcoin. So it would still go up over time.
All right. Next we have here.
I would also say that really, really bad things would have happened before the U.S. defaulted on its debt, and there would be a lead up. It wouldn't
be a
just,
sign
you
coming.
wouldn't just be
Yeah.
reading that in the New York Times one day. Really, really bad things would have had to have happened.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and read this next super chat. All right. We have here from the Coin Father says, Kelly, great TA. Thanks for your service. We probably ran into each other in our Air Force history. What do you think about that, Kelly Kellam?
Maybe. I mean, I was a crew chief on C-130s, and then I was in process of training with some pararescue guys in process of getting my package sent off so I could actually cross train into that sort of that job. But I got in a really bad accident and got medically retired during that. I was stationed at Kirtland Air Force Base. And then, so I wasn't in as long. I was planning to be career Air Force. And then when I got hurt, I got medically retired, and I've been out since 2004. So we may have run into each other, may not.
Does that name ring a bell? Coin Father?
That's how he went by.
He had a birthday
Private
yesterday.
Coin Father.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, the Coin Father. A day late.
Yeah.
Happy birthday! All right, next, and this is our last super chat, and then we can jump into Name That Coin. We have from Crypto Savvy says DXY will top at 178 to 180.
Yeah, shout out to Crypto Savvy, by the way. He has a channel.
Oh, my guy.
As well, yeah, great technical analyst there as well. I am curious. I'd love to know why he's going that high on those levels. That is a very high level.
Well,
but
Savvy, and this is not knocking him whatsoever. I think Savvy is an incredible analyst. I think all of us have our own sort of predispositions about what our level of risk is, what lens we're looking at the market through. I'm sure a lot of you have seen people out there that nonstop every day they're posting the most bullish charts ever. Mm-hmm. And then there's also people that post the most bearish charts ever. I don't think Savvy's on either one of those kicks. I think he's definitely on the more bearish side. He's thinking that we're going to bottom somewhere between 3,000 to 4,500 area. I don't see that as a high likelihood. I think it's possible. I think if we drop from here, 13.5 is probably the area that will find support. But if we were to fall to that level that he was calling for, 3 to 4,000, 3 to 4,500, the Dixie would be absolutely through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Kelly. I think I would disagree too, but here's the thing. I love hearing people's opinions that disagree with me. So Crypto Savvy, if you're still watching, reach out to me on Twitter at Tims_TA. I'd love to have you on the show and get your take and let our community see your rationale as to why you think the Dixie will go that high and the Bitcoin price will go that low. I'm very fascinated by that prediction. Any other super chats we got, Smay, or is it time to start playing the game?
It is time to play the game.
All right.
Woo!
You want to reintroduce it for anyone who wasn't here on Tuesday?
I'm absolutely going to reintroduce it for everyone who was not here on Tuesday. So, guys, I'm going to reintroduce it for everybody who's not been here on Tuesday. So the game is Name That Coin. Guys, this game is lots of fun. It's a tremendous game. I love this game. It's the best game. And how this game is played is that Tim and T-Shroom are going to be duking it out to Family Feud style to try to guess the coins with hints within 30 seconds, right? So basically the way it's going to work is I'm going to read 3 hints within 30 seconds, and Tim has 30 seconds to guess that coin. He can guess as many times as he wants within the 30-second window. When that 30 seconds is up, he gets one last final answer. If he does not get it correct, it gets sent over to T-Shroom, where T-Shroom has one chance opportunity to steal that point by guessing the coin correctly. If he does not guess the coin correctly, no one gets a point. Then it will flip over to T-Shroom, and T-Shroom will have 30 seconds and 3 hints to guess a coin. Same thing. If he doesn't guess it within 30 seconds, it gets sent over to Tim, and Tim gets one guess, and if he doesn't, then nobody gets a point. Yes, Tim, do you have a question?
I have a thought.
What's your thought?
So T-Shroom and I have a lunch schedule today with Shannon. Mm-hmm. You guys know I'm super competitive, but I also don't like this game. But I'm willing to put this here. I'm willing to bet lunch.
Ooh.
If I win this game, T-Shroom, you pay for my lunch.
Your lunch and Shannon's, or just yours?
No, Shannon's not in this game.
Okay.
That's a completely different thing.
T-Shroom. So whoever
but
loses
if you win, I'll pay
pay
for your lunch.
You're going to, okay. I'll
So,
take
guys-
it. I'll take it.
I'm going to let you guys continue on with the game. I actually, I just got called into another meeting with our other team, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me. Big love to all of you at the Coffee and Crypto. Big love to everybody that's tuned in here. We wouldn't be on here if we didn't have people to share it with. So thank you all for always tuning in and showing up. You can follow me on Twitter. I also have my weekly Twitter Spaces
tonight, right?
And today it will be at 2 p.m. Ooh. And I've got the Wolf of All Streets, Scott Moker, Mark Yusko, Jordan Lindsay, Crypto Vet. That'll be today at 2 p.m. And you can find me at Kelly Kellam. That's Kelly Kellam.
Boom.
And other than that, I really love you guys. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys on another stream very soon.
Love you, Kelly. Love you, man. We'll see you very soon.
I didn't mean to cut that off. All right, everybody.
Back to the game.
Where the
stakes are high.
We love the stinks are high or the stakes? Okay.
I feel like you're Smate. You're dabbling. Tim, you're dabbling.
Hey, Tim, it was a clarifying question.
All right, here we go.
It was a
For the
clarifying
lunch.
question.
For the lunch, baby.
For the lunch. All right, guys. So you're ready.
Lunch.
You're ready to get into the game. And if you're not aware of the rules, it'll be very self-explanatory.
Go through them like 3 more times, May.
Now I feel like T-Shroom's being the mean one here.
Don't try to turn this.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this done. I'm trying to get this game. This is a fun game, but let's get into it. All right, so you guys have 30 seconds. I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock, and then we are going to dive right on into it. All right, so Tim, you're going to go first, per usual, because you were the loser last time. All right, let us begin. Your 30 seconds begin now. All right, so your first hint, Tim, is that this coin was released on June 30th, 2015. Your second hint is that this coin was created by a Russian-born Bitcoin enthusiast. And your third hint is that this coin has green branding.
Green branding. That one threw me off. Ooh, green branding.
You have 10 seconds.
I know. Why am I blanking on what's green?
And
Is it a state?
Time's up.
Stablecoin.
So you have to give your final guess. I can repeat the hints for you real quick because I feel bad for you.
15?
This coin was released in June 30th, 2015. This coin was created by a Russian-born Bitcoin enthusiast, and this coin has green branding.
I'm trying to remember the one that has the green branding.
Final question.
I think his time's up.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass. I mean,
There you go.
Yeah.
So that is no point. T-Shroom, you have an opportunity now to steal that point.
Ethereum.
Nah.
Ah,
Is
2013.
it Tether?
No.
Is it a stable coin?
So the answer is no to that question. The answer is that you are very close, though, T-Shroom. The green branding hint is very important.
ETH Classic?
It is ETH Classic.
Because that's what threw me off because it did
That's
sound
a
Ethereum,
trick
but I was
question.
like, I forgot the ETH Classic was green.
Yep. So
Goodness.
see, this is why you guys need to start diving into CoinMarketCap to prepare.
All
All right.
true.
So this next coin, T-Shroom, it is your turn. Are you ready to be put
Yes.
on the clock? All right. I'm putting you on the clock. You ready? 30 seconds. Your time begins now. All right. Your first hint. This coin is known for its extreme risk profile.
Okay.
2, this coin was created this year. And 3, this coin is a rehash of a previously dead project. You have 14 seconds to guess.
Luna Classic.
Boom!
Let's
There
go.
we go! Brr, 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 brr.
Real quickly before we move on,
It's
please,
1-0.
audience, judge which one of those one is easier to guess.
I think Luna Classic.
That guess right there,
is
that
more-
clue when you said it was created this year and was a previously dead project. How many in the
Tim,
top 30
Tim,
other than Luna
Tim,
Classic
Tim.
are there?
Your hints were easy too because I described Ethereum and said the branding was green.
I didn't see
That
a
is
single.
so easy.
Hold on. I didn't see a single person in chat until after we announced the winner. Guess ETH Classic.
that's
gotta
true.
keep moving.
Right
That's
now,
true.
I'm watching people type in Lunacy into the chat right now. They knew
Hey,
it
Tim,
immediately.
Tim, well, it's gonna get easier. Just hold on to your
not
pants.
a
It's
bad
costing me
gauge.
lunch, dude.
It's not a bad gauge.
Well, you're the one who put the lunch on the table.
I think that this is a continuation of you do not want me to win.
Tim, cut it out. Cut it out. You still have an opportunity to win. All right. So here's next we have here. Your time starts now. All right, tune in. Let's go. This coin is very popular amongst our audience.
Ooh.
Okay.
This coin has no strong competitors. And this coin was created to bring off-chain data on-chain.
Frat
You have
Adam?
14 seconds.
has no competitor. Dot.
Chainlink. Oh, I thought he was done.
Chainlink. I get to take his
No,
guess.
no,
Yeah,
Chainlink.
there it is.
No.
There it is.
He didn't give
There-
it. He didn't give
there
it an end
goes.
of time.
Yeah, I did not
He just
say his
gave
time
me
was
an
up.
He
answer.
guessed one.
It doesn't. No, he can guess as many in the 30 seconds. Did you not listen to the rules?
All right, so we're tied up.
So T-Shroom just gave him a free lob. All right, good job.
I think we know
Tim.
what the real score is.
You know,
here.
at this point, I'm going to say that this is fair. He got the lob
That's
question
true.
in the first round.
Hey.
It's now a level playing field.
Tim, I'm going to give you that point because T-Shroom did not pay attention to the rules at the
No,
beginning.
he did not. It's a
So,
technicality.
come on.
Sometimes you need the refs to go your way.
But that is ridiculous. All right, T-Shroom, now here's your opportunity to take it all.
Is this
Be
the
the
last
winner.
one?
Get the lunch. Exactly. This is the last one. And if he doesn't answer this, Tim, this is the opportunity
yeah, I
to go for
absolutely
it.
need to do more research on these altcoins.
So, but here's the thing. If you
Okay,
guys...
go ahead and ask the
Well, hold on.
question.
This is an important clarification. Tim, why are you in a rush, T-Shroom? I need to actually explain this.
Because I'm
this is
hungry.
important. This is
Ready
important.
to get my free lunch, baby.
This is important for the game. We still have 4 minutes. So here's the deal. If you guys tie at this point, because you guys both have 1 point, and if neither of you guys get this last one correct, and you guys are tied, I'm going to go ahead and lob you guys one last coin to break the tie.
Okay.
And I'm
do
going to
it.
give it to, I'm going to have Tim guess that. But okay, so T-Shroom, you're
Wow.
on the clock.
I mean, you're better at this than I am, so that's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah. And also, I don't have anything written down, so this is going to be from my brain, so it's going to be harder for Tim. All right, so here we go. T-Shroom, are you ready?
I am. Got market pulse pulled up. Just kidding.
All right.
Coin market cap. That's the
All
joke
right.
there.
All right, you're on the clock. All right. This coin is astronomy themed.
Okay.
This coin's ticker is unrelated to its project name,
Okay.
and this coin is a direct competitor to DOT.
Okay.
You can begin guessing. You have 15 seconds left.
Cosmos.
Boom! Ding 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 ding
Free
ding
lunch.
ding 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 ding.
And I don't believe it is a direct competitor to DOT. I
Yeah,
think
it is.
Eh.
It definitely is.
We can talk about it after the show.
It's a layer. Okay. Well, my
So
understanding
we're not
is
going
that
to talk
it's a
about
layer
the
zero.
fact that the clue was astronomy themed. We're not going to talk about that at all. We're not going to talk about how easy of a lob that was. We're not going to talk about the
Hold on,
absolute
Tim.
unfair quality.
Tim.
Literally, as soon as you said that, my brain said Cosmos.
Tim.
Can you please equal out the clue on these coins?
Ooh.
Tim, you literally got a free point. What are you complaining about?
I understand I got a free point. But his 2 questions were the easiest 2
my
questions
gosh.
that we have ever had on this show.
In my opinion, yours were super easy. Okay, first of all, the chain link one was a dead giveaway because I literally said it was basically an Oracle protocol in the last question, last hint.
Do you think I know every in and out of all these altcoins?
Damn it. Okay, well, you should know what chain
Man,
link
No,
is.
that's
I
our
give you
show.
that one. I give you that one. That
Okay.
but I'm saying
Ethereum Classic
the
was also
ease that you
easy.
just gave T Shroom.
Oh
with
my
those
gosh.
2 coins.
Tim, you should have known at this point, and this is on you because Ethereum Classic was I literally said this coin was the 2015. I'll give you that if you knew when Ethereum was created. This coin was created by a Russian-born Bitcoin enthusiast, Vitalik Buterin, and this coin's branding is green.
I
That
honestly
is
did not
pretty
know
easy.
Ethereum Classic's brand was green. That's what threw me off. My original brain
We
said Ethereum, but I was
literally-
like, I know Ethereum's blue.
Here's what's crazy. We literally covered not even like 2 weeks ago when the merge happened with Ethereum. We covered ETH Classic in the Market Pulse. I'm surprised you did not remember this, but Tim, you're gonna have to buy T-Shroom lunch. I'm sorry. And now you know not to throw
To be
things on
fair,
the table.
don't get me wrong. Here's the thing. I have no problem losing. In fact, I expect to lose this game more often than not. I think T-Shroom has a better grasp of altcoins than me. But why do we just lob it up there for him
Hold
like
on.
it's the easiest
So
thing?
here's-
Why don't you say, this is the #1 coin on CoinMarketCap. It has the highest amount of volume every... Like, why don't we just go ahead and float those questions up to T-Shroom?
Tim, here's what I'm going to do the next time we play this game. Next time we play this game, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to reverse the order. I'm going to make T-Shroom go first. And maybe somehow... Because
We all know subconsciously you're just going to switch all the harder questions to the second batches.
I come up with the questions in completely the same way. So I think you're just getting upset because you keep
all right.
losing.
You know what? It's time to wrap out the show. I have to go pay for T-Shroom's lunch.
The next one, if you lose, Tim has to switch all of his holdings over to Robinhood.
Oh,
No, that is not happening.
I'm going to make sure I give you the lob questions, T-Shroom.
Goodness gracious. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Shout out to Kellam for being our guest today with phenomenal analysis on what's happening in the space right now. If you guys want to hear more from him, make sure to go follow him on Twitter at Kellam. He's also doing a lot with the BitBoy team, so make sure if you see his name on content out there, you go and shout out to him, because here's the thing. Once you're Coffee and Crypto fam, you are always Coffee and Crypto fam. Kelly will forever be loved by our team. That is all we have for you guys in this video, but things you need to keep an eye on. Tomorrow, Harry will be joining the show, so make sure you don't miss the last show of the week on Friday. Also, next week, we've been talking about this. That guy right there doesn't have a name. We're going to be voting as a community on what the official name of that cup is going to be. Make sure you stay tuned all of next week. We love each and every single last one of you, and despite the fact that I'm upset with you right now, Snay, you can roll the outro.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and do that.